Yo, do you want to know what kind of power IMU has? Or what is the secret to ms.goldenweek and Jango's power? Also, how will people access punk records? What about the importance of balance and the soul? And why do artists play a big role in One Piece? Well, in this video, I'll tell you. But before we begin, it'll mean the world if you like and subscribe to my channel. It'll motivate me to make more content for all you amazing people. Art is a way to manipulate one's soul. You need balance. Being an artist means you have a perfect balance between your soul and your art. A person's soul can represent their will and haki. In my previous video, Why Nature is the Key to Energy, I recommend to check it out if you haven't yet. I mentioned how when you mix the essence of nature with the will/soul of humans, you get art, such as a house or a ship. You can say the same thing for music. A violin is made from nature. The wielder of the violin puts their soul into it, just like Brook, which makes him an artist. He can project his soul through music. Brook has a perfect balance of nature and the soul. The soul can be considered will, which can also represent haki. I'll come back to that later in this video. I believe IMU is an artist as well. I think IMU is supposed to represent a creator, like a mangaka. IMU has the power to bend people's will. We see the gorosei literally bend a knee to IMU. We see IMU's messengers also bend a knee. IMU's powers may represent a mangaka's pen. You've heard the saying, a pen is mightier than the sword. Well, in this case, literally. We've seen something similar with Kanjuro's devil fruit, the Fude no Mi, but he would generate ink from his body and use his hair or a paintbrush to paint. This would bring his paintings to life. He was an artist and an actor. Also, his finale attack, Kazembo, looks similar to the gorosei's true forms and IMU's. What if IMU has a power similar to this, but instead of using a paintbrush, IMU can create art with their imagination? IMU could use a pen or even a marker just like a mangaka, or even a pencil which uses graphite. IMU's crown could also be the cap to a marker/pen. This reminded me of an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants called Frankendoodle. In this episode, an artist in a boat is sketching something with a pencil. Well, this artist drops their pencil into the sea. It fell underwater into SpongeBob's hands. SpongeBob possesses limitless imagination, possibly due to SpongeBob's childlike nature. SpongeBob was able to bring anything he drew to life with this pencil. This power was only limited by his imagination. SpongeBob was also able to erase with the pencil. Gomu means rubber, which may also represent the power to erase anything just like IMU does, the rubber from a pencil. Another thing I noticed was, in chapter 1085, we see IMU's possible true form along with the gorosei. They look like a mangaka's ink from a pen/marker. We see an arrow IMU uses to attack Sabo and King Cobra. This arrow reminded me of an artist's art. In chapter 123, we see Mr. 3 use a harpoon attack, which looks similar to IMU's arrow attack. What if this arrow is used to represent an artist? I mentioned rubber earlier. One thing I noticed is that there are 5 gorosei which can represent go. Then if you add IMU, that's mu, 6 altogether. And if you put both together, you get gomu. The gorosei and IMU have the power to erase things, which is also coincidentally the fake name of Luffy's devil fruit. The Gomu Gomu no Mi, who named it that? Shanks was the first person to name it the Gomu Gomu. Then we see Lucky Roo show a picture of the fruit. How did the red hair pirates get that picture? Mu, the number 6, is one number away from perfection. 7 represents perfection. Mu and the gorosei were one fruit away from a perfect world controlled by them. In the book of Genesis, it states, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness." God created man on the 6th day. 6 can also signify imperfection. You get it? Also, im can also mean imbalance. Notice how there's im in those words? There's an imbalance in the world. Like I said earlier, I think IMU can bend the will of others and control them. What if IMU was controlling Higuma the mountain bandit from chapter 1? Don't you find it odd that Higuma coincidentally stumbled across Shanks, who just stole the fruit from the government? What if IMU was controlling Higuma and sent him to get the Gomu Gomu? Higuma was even able to catch Shanks off guard with the smoke ball. The only other character to do that to Shanks was Blackbeard. Higuma even tried to kill Luffy. Another interesting thing I noticed was that right before Higuma got eaten by the Sea King, he said he killed 56 people, which means Gomu, which translates to rubber, maybe also to erase. Then he immediately got erased. Also, the panel after the scene at the bar where Luffy eats the Gomu Gomu no Mi, we see Luffy walking down a trail, and there's a cow that says moo. And if you look deeper, that can represent mu for IMU and the number 6. So I believe the government named the devil fruit the Gomu Gomu no Mi to hide its identity, and as a reflection for the gorosei and IMU. 5 gorosei and 6 in total with IMU. I think IMU also has the power of imagination on their side, and just like ms.goldenweek, IMU might also be a child. In Tainted Marth's video, he gives some great detail about IMU's height. Y'all should check out that awesome video, and make sure to like his vid and subscribe to his channel. This would go great with my nature video. In it, I explain how children in the world of One Piece possess unlimited imagination, and Luffy in this case is a child at heart. IMU may have a height complex and does not like being short, so IMU wears a crown to distract people from their height. Also, sitting on a throne throne that's supposed to be empty and where all the world thinks is empty sounds like something an immature brat would do, like Stelly. There's I am again, Im. In the world of One Piece, there are characters who possess otherworldly powers. And no, I'm not just talking about characters with Devil Fruit powers. Characters such as ms.goldenweek and Jango possess these very powers. ms.goldenweek is a painter. She utilizes her skills as a painter to inflict a special type of hypnosis depending on the color of paint. She's able to manipulate a person's personality. In chapter 124, we see ms.goldenweek use her paint against Luffy. And just like with Jango, Luffy falls under her hypnosis-esque control. I believe ms.goldenweek's power may be due to her soul being one with nature, which in return enhances her art as an artist. This is why she doesn't need a Devil Fruit. I think since she's a kid, she has limitless imagination. Just like Imu. If the perpetual youth surgery was used on Imu had years to enhance their imagination as a child. During the cover story for ms.goldenweek, Operation Meet Barricade Works, she rescues her fellow Barricade Works members who were captured. We see ms.goldenweek use an attack called Color Trap Rainbow of Dreams, which apparently transforms people into their innermost dream, pretty much what they desire to be. We see Crocodile as Pirate King. We see ms.goldenweek become a true artist and Mr. One become a superhero. This color trap seems overpowered. It's like how a devil fruit is made from a person's dream. Jango is an entertainer. He dances and hypnotizes people with his pendulum. Life is like a pendulum. The pendulum changes direction when it has swung too far in one direction. Jango controls the balance. Even if the pendulum swings widely out to one side, it will compensate and inevitably find its way back to the other side. For example, someone who isn't able to express a certain sensation such as anger, like at work, will have other places to let out this anger, like with road rage or internal self-talk, or even release the anger onto someone else. I believe Jango is able to control the pendulum and a person's soul. He can manipulate the balance of the pendulum. He can tilt the scale. If you're feeling tired or are weak, Jango can tilt the pendulum to the other side, literally, and make you feel alive and strong. In chapter 30, he used this hypnosis on Luffy and some of Captain Kuro's crew. They all felt rejuvenated by Jango's pendulum. He's able to do this due to him putting his soul into his art. Jango loves dancing and can be seen as an entertainer. Jango has a strong soul. Jango was a pirate, then he became a marine. He has one foot on the pirate life and one foot in the marine life. Jango can disrupt the balance. In Jango's cover story, Dance Paradise, Jango shows off his ability to get the people around him to dance. After Jango got captured by Full Body, we see him and the people in the courtroom break into dance. He has influence over the people around him thanks to his soul. Another thing I noticed was, what if Jango is from the kingdom of Nerona? In chapter 1086, we learn that a Saint Imu is from there, and we can see a castle from the kingdom of Nerona with hearts on top of the castle's towers. In Jango's cover story for chapter 139, we see that Jango has heart-shaped eyes. Jango does have a heart theme. What if the kingdom of Nerona is a kingdom of artists, a country of entertainers, and both Jango and Imu are from there? And there's Brook. Yes, he has a devil fruit, but I think Brook's music can also manipulate people and their soul. I think Brook, Imu, Jango, and ms.goldenweek can bend the will of others. They have influence over nature and the soul. These characters can manipulate the souls of others and bend their will. Brook does this attack where he uses party music. Brook uses his violin and guitar to play music. We see his silhouette above the moon. We see Brook with two weapons like Nika, but in Brook's case it's a violin and a violin bow, the opposite of Nika, who represents the sun. We get the day and night. Both Luffy and Brook bring smiles to people. There's balance between night and day. There's Brook, who can represent the underworld, then there's Luffy, who can represent heaven. He bends the will by using his soul. A person may have murderous intent, but Brook can make them a pacifist by leaving them in awe with his art. In chapter 635, during the Fishman Island arc, the new Fishman pirates attempt to attack Princess Shirahoshi. Though, instead of shooting Princess Shirahoshi, they shoot their rockets into the sky. The enemies even thought they were shooting fireworks. They were left in awe due to Brook's influence. Brook was able to bend their reality. He projected his soul onto his music. He was able to control their soul to his will. Brook's will is also tied to his hockey. What if Brook is the key to access Vegapunk's punk records? There's a note called the F sharp chord. People believe this chord is how the planet Earth sounds. The Earth sings in F sharp. Maybe this is how the planet in the world of One Piece sounds and sings. They say that the F note is in harmony with the Anada heart chakra. The heart chakra is the place of the true self and the spirit. The spirit is only awakened in a pure and open heart and lets us feel the world's endless joy and perceive the meaning and purpose of our lives. This reminds me of releasing dopamine. If Brook had a concert that could be seen and heard across the world, everyone's soul/spirit will become one. Everything/everyone in nature can sing along. Since everything has a soul and spirit, Vegapunk would be able to use this as energy for his punk records. Brook would play his violin in the F-sharp chord. Every person, it doesn't matter if you're a pirate, marine, or a normal person living on an island, everyone would join in together and sing along, and since everything has a soul and spirit, singing can enhance their soul and leave everyone in a sense of awe. They'll all be on the same wavelength, while at the same time learning about the true history from the past. I believe the song everyone would sing is Bink Sake. Speaking of punk records, there's something I found called the Akashic records. They are basically a record of what will happen, is happening, or has happened. Because they are a higher dimension, the rules of time don't really apply. Information from 2,000 years ago is as accessible as it was from yesterday. You can see the Akashic records as the universe's supercomputer, or in other words, the cloud, where you store data, a Google search for your soul. It's the central storehouse of all information for every individual who has ever lived upon Earth. These records contain every thought, deed, word, feeling, and intent. When you read your own records or records of someone else, you are connecting with the soul of a person. How do you access the Akashic records? There's a book written by Linda Howe, and in this book she says you can access the records through prayer, known as the pathway prayer. I believe Oda may have been inspired by this. This probably does not sound possible in the real world, but in the world of One Piece, I believe it is possible. But instead of accessing the records through prayer, it's through song, thanks to Brook. Also, I think this F-sharp chord may be tied to the Den Den Mushi and how they are able to communicate in the world of One Piece. In chapter 594, we see Capone and his crew encounter a strange structure. What if that object was being sent to IMU and the gorosei from Vegapunk? What if its power source is the Mother Flame? Vegapunk made it for energy, not a weapon like how IMU used Mother Flame in chapter 1086. That mysterious craft probably gathers up the energy from the nature around it, such as the sea, land, and trees, but in this case Capone, his ship, and crew. Something like this happened in the movie Nope, where the mysterious aliens sucked up the people. One last thing, what if IMU is able to use powers from a devil fruit that hasn't been eaten yet? IMU's powers seem similar to Kanjuro's, and Kanjuro died during the Wano arc, which takes place during the Reverie. Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Peace.